This one, Susan.
No, the one where you say you have the small farms with 2 people.
Okay.
Yeah. This one.
Yes. So, what I want to ask you is, you've said that you've got the 3 types of farms in Latin America, and you've also said that there's a growing number of people. So, how can these farms? Sorry, you said that these are different types of farms. But you've also said that with agriculture, you've got the amount of population growing. So how can these farms, these different types, or which one is going to drive agriculture? And if it can, how can it drive agriculture?
The most efficient now is family farms, which employs from 2 to 4 people. It is a small property, but they are the most efficient. So the reforms now, this movement, what they are proposing is a land reform to divide these latifundios who are not efficient at all and become family farms. So the aim is that the agriculture in Brazil will fall into family farms to develop and overcome poverty. However, the latifundios, they have lots of power and these fights, like this movement has over 1 million the landless workers, they have over 1 million members. So it's a lot of people, they are all over Brazil and still they didn't tackle it yet, you know. They did success on getting over some properties, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, what I would like to ask is, can agriculture bring development? And if yes, then how do you think it can?
Can you ask that again?
Can agriculture bring development to the economy? And if you think yes, then how do you think it can do that?
Well, obviously, but there are few countries in the world that don't rely on agriculture, that have 0% of agriculture GDP. But as we are learning today to the Lewis model, you can have a lot of different ways to use agriculture to increase development. And I don't know exactly what point you are going to.
But in the case of these developing countries, they didn't, every time they experience growth, the economy grow. For example, in China, the economy grow in a fast pace, in Brazil in a fast pace as well. However, many of most of the people in the agricultural sector, they still poor and they still didn't get anything. So it is believed that the way to make everybody like participate of the growth of the country is by improving agriculture.
Yeah, really, if in developing countries like Brazil or other Latin American countries, if you could actually divide the latifundios and give to the people, of course the agriculture will get better and economy as well. But you know, how you do that process is a bit, it's very controversial subject, because you know, my family, we own a farm ourselves, but my farm is a productive farm, so we plant. But this movement, they try to invade farms that could be planted, but they are not being used. They are just there for the family. So, but the problem is, like, how are we gonna take the land of the people that were there for 200 years? For example, their great-grandfather went there, and now we're gonna take that land and give to other people that never been there before, just because they don't have where to plant, you know. So it's a very controversial subject. But doing that, it would improve much better the economy by having smaller farms.
The other one you went to, specialization, diversification.
Yes.
Diversification. Is diversification going to affect the food prices of agriculture?
Why do you think? Why do you think it will be?
Doesn't diversification make the food prices rise, the rise in food prices?
This is not exactly, yeah, is diversification in the meaning that it's going to be, instead of being the whole subsistence only if you're planting only to eat, now you have the possibility to also plant to sell that, you know. So you can do what they call cash crops, that, for example, coffee, you cannot eat coffee, but you can plant that and you can sell afterwards. So I don't know exactly the relation it has with prices. But
Why did you see it might affect price? I just didn't get it.
Oh, I was looking online at the topic, and rising stable food prices was related to the diversification.
I believe it will only affect if there is a high increase in the diversification all over the country, then there will be extra supply of food. Then maybe it would be reduce the price of food, let's say. But I only believe that would happen if it would happen at the same time in the whole country, which is very unlikely.
What about the opposite? I think from what she's saying is, if diversification means moving away from food production towards cash production, for example, coffee or other things, would that have the reverse impact of creating food shortage and therefore pushing prices up?
It did happen in Africa, I believe in the 80s, I'm sure, I don't know if it was the 70s or the 80s, that they had problems with the foreign exchange. Because of that, they were having only one product, and when they were having to buy first they were self-sufficient, and then they had to start to, because they had this moving from subsistence to cash crops, they had to start to sell the crop, to sell the crops to buy the food, to import the food, and this relationship was, in the long term or medium term, was not good.
Just to give you an opportunity, because I felt I rushed you and you didn't cover the material. What did you want to tell us about China? In a sense, before you went to the lesson, I didn't get what is the Chinese agricultural structure, why is it efficient, and what is the lesson?
I gave the
very short word.
I gave the key points of the China successful agriculture transformation that they had since
What was it?
78. The main thing is that the market is formed for three forces that they decided, or they aim to do that, or it happened. Is the state, the market, and the small farmer. So, and the approach, it can be from, the approach could be bottom up or up bottom, or up down, top down, sorry. And the thing is that the farmer will respond to the market, and the government will provide the farmer with tools or agricultural expenditures, to say here, and other to support the farmer, and to increase the rural production.
Sorry, I did not get that. What did you mean by the state, the market, and the small farmers? What's the relationship? What
the relationship is that they began to create a three-part interaction. That is the farmer responds to the market needs, and the state, through expanding agricultural expenditures, provide the strongest supported range and quantity of public goods directed at the rural economy.
So the state supports the farmers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, supports agriculture with policies and the expenditure on that.
What type of support would that be?
Probably investing in other non-farming activities that are around the farms as well, villages, and of course in agriculture, like providing technologies, seeds, this kind of thing.
Can you research that a little bit more?
Yeah, this came from a paper of. This came from this paper from the China DAC study group.
On your slides, it's not clear to me, so probably if you can give some explanation when you write it up.
When you do that.
I just want to understand, because China is known to have gone through a communist transformation where there was collectivization of agriculture, people have been put together, and after that, I want you to tell me what happened. Did they, again, you also emphasized the Chinese model of agriculture is also based on small scale farming, and therefore how did that fit with socialism? Because socialism is about collective agriculture, bringing all people together so that you don't have the large influence in the small farmers. Okay? Therefore it's about equality. That was how the revolution was, and I want you to tell me what is it now and why is it efficient, because you are putting it as a lesson which Africa and other countries could take as an example, because this is a country which is feeding big chunks of the world population with a small resource. I wanted that to, it's not clear on the presentation.
Any other question, guys? I'm happy to accept 2 questions if you have them.
We have time.
How would the peasant farmers develop themselves in order to achieve growth? Or rise above subsistence? What they need to do?
Well,
What's the solution?
I told you that there are, to make the transition from subsistence to mixed farm or to...
Or how they exist.
It depends on the availability of credit, fertilizers, crop information and marketing facilities. And also, they need to be above their farming, their output cannot be just as if they're just getting by what they have to eat and they don't have a surplus, they cannot invest and take the risk to change that.
But it changes from country to country. For example, in some parts of Asia, they do have access to credit. However, the interest rate is from 50% to 200%. So they do get the credit at first. However, they end up worse off afterwards because they dare to go too high. So it depends. It varies from country to country how they exist.
Okay. Another question?
And again, you raised an important point here on agricultural transformation, and that is microcredit, which probably did not cover. If agriculture is to develop, one of the problems which they would face is, one is the agricultural fragmentation, because you are so, in Brazil, you are advocating more or less to say, although he didn't agree with you, that there is a need for land reform.
Yeah.
Okay? His reply was, who is going to take my land?
Okay. I'd rather get guns than give my land away. That's for sure.
We have war here.
Okay, and therefore within that, I want that to be reflected. Okay, you don't have to agree, okay? But I want that to be reflected to say, what are the challenges for land reform? Why do you think it is necessary, and why do you think it is unfair?
No, I think it might be necessary when you think about it, but you know, it's what if someone arrive and say it's better to have smaller firms, and then I'm gonna take your firm and divide it into 20 and give to 20 different people? What you gonna say? The firm that was in your firm for 200 years, now they say...
I'm sorry, don't talk to me like that. I'm not going to go to Brazil to take your land, okay? I'll try to do that, not with me. The last question, please, and we will finish.
The role of women are, they're doing a lot of the agricultural work in all of the countries you mentioned, and you've also said that they're not having many assistance programs to reach them. So how will this help agriculture if the people that are actually doing most of the work, they haven't got any support or incentives?
Well, that's what we said. I said here that they should actually, no, they aren't, but they should actually. Nowadays, things are changing. They are working with women more, but in the last decades they were only aiming at men. They were also trying to work with IFAC, that they were thinking that they would teach men, and men would teach their family and their wives, and that was not happening at the rate they were expecting. It was surprisingly low. Men were not teaching what they learned to the women for cultural reasons and other reasons.
So would you say that agriculture is going to, would you say that agriculture is going to benefit the small farmers and the urban population?
Agriculture in which sense?
Sorry?
Like provide assistance to women? Yeah, because women, they are the one that they invest in their household, as we could say, like it's not obviously stereotypical, but it's proven through studies that women do invest more than men, and while men can spend the money outside in other things, women tend to invest at home and also invest in their children. So overall the community will be better.
I think we can finish it here. Thanks.